Hey Skydivers, I'm so glad to finally talk to you about my indoor skydiving competition. We went through my 10 in 10 journey together and I didn't get the chance up to now to update you on what happened during the competition. So it's now story time. I'm so sorry guys, I didn't get the chance to update you right after the competition because I ended up starting back to work after a year of maternity leave. So it was kind of the rush lately with getting used to getting the baby to the daycare and then driving to work and then get back into the working mindset. So I'm so sorry about that. But now let's take the time to update you about this amazing experience of me doing my first ever indoor skydiving competition. So as you might already know, the 10 in 10 challenge was me training 10 hours in 10 weeks prior to the Canadian Indoor Skydiving Championship. It was a wild ride, I must say, because although I did plan to do 1 hour of training every week, I ended up actually at the end doing about 3 hours a week, and so I had to drive up to Montreal, which is about 3-hour drive, and so doing that 3 times a week was pretty intense and exhausting. But I had to, because during those 10 weeks there were some weeks I couldn't go to the wind tunnel because there was bad conditions on the road due to the snow. Hey, we're in Canada. So the last 2 weeks were of course pretty intense, but I got to really train hard on my routines. Remember, I had 3 routines to do. One was my free routine on music, and the other 2 were the compulsory routines where I had 3 imposed movements in each rounds. So as an example, I was getting in the tunnel for 20 minutes and I would do 5 rounds of 4 minutes. And during those 4 minutes, I was rehearsing the same routine again and again. And with a time of about a minute per routine or 45 seconds for the compulsory routines, it was pretty intense to just get into the tunnel, 1 minute of flying, get out, and then get back again and redo it. I was able to do the routine maybe 3 times during that 4 minutes, so it was very hard and exhausting to do that. That's what I noticed. But in the end, what was interesting is that I was constant in my performance. So at that point, I started to gain more confidence about my performance during the competition. So the competition was March 30th and 31st. The morning of the competition, I was really nervous, needless to say. So I arrived at the wind tunnel at around 8 a.m. The briefing was at 8:30 and my first performance in the wind tunnel was at 9:30. So at that point I was getting very nervous. At 9:30 I had my speed check. So it's basically a run where you get in and just do certain movements. You're not allowed to do your own routine. You're just allowed to do some movements to make sure the speed is okay with you and to get you in the mindset and in the mood of flying for the first rounds. Then after that, I had about 30 minutes in between rounds. By noon, we were done for the day. So I did 4 rounds during the first day, and those were free round number 1, compulsory round number 2, and then 2 other free rounds. I really cannot do justice of the feeling you have by entering into the chamber. You're nervous, there's a lot of stuff going through your mind, and I was actually the first one. We were 3 in my category, and I was the first one to get into the chamber and to fly my round. So I was glad about that because I could just go in, get that done, and then relax after that. But the most intense moments were when I was getting out of the chamber. So you go in, you start, get into the chamber, do your routine, and when you get out, you're like, whew, that's done. That was so intense. And I was always jumping and cheering while I was getting out in the chamber. And oh my gosh, that feeling is addictive, I must say. That's something that I want to redo. I want to get back again into a skydiving or indoor skydiving competition because of that intense feeling of fulfillment and excitement and proudness when you just did your round. The mindset that I had was simply have fun, because I knew that I wasn't to the level of my competitors. So they had way more hours than me in the wind tunnel for training, and so I wasn't actually competing against them. For me, is that I was living the experience. But something happened. Turned out that my second round, which was a compulsory, meaning I had to do specific compulsory movements, I was pretty good at those. Okay, I might not have the graciousness or the fluidity during my free routines, but for the compulsory movements, I was mostly right on. So that surprised me, because I ended up telling myself, well, I might not be that out of the game than I thought. The second day was a little bit more nervousness from me, because I knew that actually I could stand a chance to maybe perform better. So at that point, yeah, of course, the nervousness kicked in, because now it was more about performance than just enjoying the ride. My free routines did improve a lot in the fluidity of them and the graciousness and stuff like that. And again, for the second compulsory round, I did hit hard as well. I actually ended up having one of the highest score, but it was surprising how I was performing in those compared to the free routines, where I was actually a little bit behind. One of my best round that I did in my free routines was when my coach told me, just feel it, enjoy it and feel it. And I was like, yeah, that's a good trick. So I entered into the chamber and I flew for me. I was like, feel it with the music, the wind, and that was my best performance. So I must say that the trick of saying, feel it, fly it, like you're really impersonating it, and it will work. So this round was really surprising to me, because when you just relax and enjoy your time, you perform way better. And in the end, you can see my scoring there. So you can notice that the round 2 and 5 are my best ones, because those are the compulsory rounds. As you may notice as well, we were 3 competitors. So I enjoyed this experience with those 2 girls, and it was their first experience as well. So we had a great time living this experience all together. And since we were 3, well, I got to live with a little souvenir. So I received the 3rd place, and so this will be kind of a souvenir for me to remember that this challenge was an exciting ride, but it was worth it for the experience and the accomplishment of setting yourself a goal, working for it, and then the big event can happen and you can be proud of it. So I challenge you guys now. I want you to give yourself a goal, work hard towards it, and make it happen. Compete in the sport that you love. That's my best advice. Do not aim for the podium or the most advanced rewards. Aim to participate, to live the experience, because that's what matters. And it will make you a better athlete, of course. Now that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed. I know that has been a lot of talking, but I wanted to finalize this 10 in 10 challenge with you guys. If you want to rewatch the 10 in 10 challenge videos, you can simply click here. On that, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, keep jumping, and blue skies.